Let's talk closing day from the seller's perspective. So at this point, you're already moved out of your home. You've already scheduled the transfer of your utilities. You want them to be scheduled on for the day of closing, just because, again, if the buyer for some reason slipped up and didn't have their utilities transferred, you do not want to have a walkthrough without utilities on. That's going to be a problem and delay your closing. So we try to think ahead and make sure that we're covered in that scenario. You've moved out. Your utilities have been changed. The home has been left in good condition. We have figured out how the buyer's getting their keys, your garage codes, any door codes, any alarm codes, any mailbox keys, anything that they need to live in that home, and maybe let them know where we left any brochures or manuals or anything that get left with the property. So you as a seller generally don't go to closing. Out of 300 transactions, over 300 transactions, I've only had one seller who went to closing, and that was because he was literally leaving to move to Mexico immediately after the closing. So he's the only one who's ever gone. So sellers generally pre-sign. You'll pre-sign either in your attorney's office, or sometimes, depending on where you're moving to, they will do it through the mail, and with the power of attorney to be able to sign if anything else needs to be signed. So it's just the buyer's team that's at the closing. We definitely manage things and watch them. We know what time the closing is. Your attorney's available by phone. Your attorney's managing the closing essentially from a distance and making sure everything is going smoothly. Usually your attorney is the first person to know when the loan funds, but I, as the realtor, will generally follow up and hopefully have built a great relationship at that point with the other realtor that they're going to text me as soon as it funds anyway. I try really hard and I want to be the first person to call you and officially congratulate you on our successful transaction, but sometimes it's the attorney that finds out first and I don't get that luxury. But at that point you're done. So oftentimes, depending on how you decided to receive your funds, they will cut a certified check at the closing table. You can pick it up or have it mailed to you. Most people do opt to have their money wired to them. And so in the case that it gets wired, you generally get it the same business day unless it's an end of day closing. There is a fee for that though. And so that's why some people choose not to do that. To me, I think it's easier, pay the $40. It's usually 40. It can vary though. But pay the $40 and just get your money the same day and then be done and move on. That way you can start settling into your new home.